In our first story, the National Association of Graduate Teachers has warned government it will fiercely resist the intended teacher licensing examination regime if the needed due diligence is not done before its implementation. Reacting to the Ghana Education Service's notice to begin implementation of the policy from September this year, the Vice President of NAGRAT, Angel Kabunu, said though they are not against licensing of teachers, the lack of transparency and the hurried nature of the process was worrying. The association at a news conference called for an immediate suspension of the policy. Matilda Pamaga has more.
The new policy will ensure that teachers pass a special examination before granting the license to teach. According to the Ghana Education Service, this will give the teachers opportunity to prove their competence and achieve results in their areas of specialization. The policy is expected to be rolled out in September this year, but already being faced with strong resistance from key stakeholders. The National Association of Graduate Teachers is one of the teacher unions questioning the entire process.
Let me state that NAGRAT is neither resisting licensing and registration of teachers, nor questioning the mandate of the National Teaching Council to do so. The above notwithstanding, we have issues with the procedure for the implementation of the policy and the subsequent repercussion thereof. How can anybody think that the mere issuance and acquisition of a license is enough to bring about effective teaching and learning?
Prospective teachers are expected to pay between 100 and 150 cedis for the licensing examination and 200 cedis for the license. NAGRAT is questioning the basis of payment of these monies.
These questions have been asked by teacher unions and have been left hanging. If the cost associated with the operation of a policy is left unaddressed, how can one expect those who may have to pay for it to embrace the policy? The National Teaching Council will do itself a lot of good if it comes out clear on the cost involved and those responsible for the payment. NAGRAT has concerns over the payment of non-refundable processing fee for the licensure exam. How was that figure arrived at? How can the National Teaching Council veto the payment of such money? We see this as a move to extort money from poor teachers as budgetary support for undisclosed intentions. We in NAGRAT strongly advocate for more stakeholder consultation on the implementation of the policy. We wish to assure everybody that once the right consultations are made, we'll do our best to ensure that the implementation of the policy succeeds. Anything short of the above will be met with bull force resistance.
The Association of Graduate Teachers also wants to engage the National Teaching Council on the number of years it will take for teachers to renew the license. Matilda Pamaga for JoyNews, Accra.
Meanwhile, government decision to extend school hours to 4 p.m. is still facing some resistance. The proposal, which was put forward by the Minister of Education at a forum in Accra a fortnight ago, is intended to increase contact hours school children have with their teachers. But with this proposal being strongly rejected by some civil society organizations and some non-governmental organizations, including a group calling itself Innovative Teachers, the prime servant of the NGO, Stephen Desu, argues that government should rather focus on equipping schools with necessary teaching and learning aids rather than keeping children in schools for longer periods.
In the mind of the minister, he thinks that more is better, as in spend a lot of time in the classroom. But it's not the number of hours you spend in the classroom that matters. It's the quality of use of instructional time that matters. So we rather have to resource teachers to work, to make their work, better than what they are doing now. Because you can spend from 6 to 6. If you're TLM you're using to teach ICT in terms of, say, mouse is a stone, you're wasting your time. That is what we are saying, that we need investment in education, not extension of time. We think that, one, is not backed by any scientific idea. Two, our children in our classrooms will be tired, they will be hungry. Most of them come to school hungry anyway, and the school feeding program does not, affect them anyway, so they will not be listening to you. So there's no need. We rather close early. Reduce the subjects rather. close early and rather provide the tools for the teachers to work. There should be less contact hours with the pupils. We should rather have more time for them to play.
The National Service Secretariat says it is determined to turn graduates from the country's tertiary institutions into employers rather than prospective employees waiting to be handed jobs. The Deputy Executive Director for Administration and Finance, Gifty Owari Abuaje, was confident the implementation of training programs outlined for personnel will satisfy institutions that complained about the quality of graduates posted to them. She spoke to JoyNews after a two-day training program on entrepreneurial development for service personnel in Cape Coast.
The newly posted national service personnel with their colleagues that are done with their service and are exiting the national service scheme are being taken through what is called soft skills and other entrepreneurial insights before they get engaged with institutions across the country. According to the National Service Secretariat, the feedback the Secretariat gets from institutions indicates that national service persons lack the basic employable skills for them to engage them and subsequently employ them. Thus, according to the Deputy Executive Director of the NSS, Gifty Owari Abuaje, would be a thing of the past, as the NSS is determined to give the personnel everything they need to know before they start their national service this year.
To make sure that from now people would complain less about the people that we deploy, because it hurts when you deploy people and the feedback you get is not positive. So we just want positive feedback on job, so the supporting we give to the society will come back and appreciate it more than they do. Sure. Tomorrow's training from the United West guys, they have insurance brokerage as part of their strategy. They're going to teach them. So for instance, even as NSPs, they can still have access to being a brokerage. So then you go out there and you broker a deal for an insurance company, any insurance company, because they are not being limited to just one. And at the end of the day, you know that, okay, I've been enhanced to be a broker. Then it's money for you. So when you finish, you can be your own CEO. Can decide to open a brokerage and make sure that it works for you. As they are working, they can still have this as part-time. We as a party came to power, we provided a lot of space and conducive environment for people to work. And what is it worth if after 1 year they don't even get jobs? We keep complaining. A lot of people say we want to do something, but I don't know how to do it. Now we are giving them the first space to getting these jobs done. So when they go out there after work, in between work, you can still have it. You can't do just one job and become rich.
Jody spoke to some of the national service persons after they have been taken through some basics such as proposal writing, CV writing, and personal statement, and a host of others.
Move from region to region to educate our service persons about CV writing and then taking reports and some minor tips that we need to add up to whatever course that we have done in our institutions. For example, you might be in an office whereby maybe a minute and you'll be asked to take a minute, but you have no knowledge about that. Taking minute doesn't mean it's a course that you study in a university. It's something that you add up to what you have done. So we are here to help our people as they are going to the service to work in their various offices. Some of these things can come up to take reports and stuff, so they can have a fair knowledge and idea of what to do. That's what this program is all about.
As we move on, as we move forward, every year they should be able to organize these programs for service persons. Like my president rightly said, it motivates us, it gives us experience, so that when you go to the job field, we will just display it there.
Former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan has donated for exhibition and auction some of his personal artworks in support of education. At a ceremony to open the exhibition, Mr. Kofi Annan said the artworks are tokens of affection and support he received over the years from around the world, which also have helped him and also sustained him. During a connection between the artworks and his former school in Fansipim, Mr. Kofi Annan said they both hold special place in his heart, hence his intention to auction them to support the school.
I think it's a great pleasure for me to be able to give back. These are tokens of support and affection I got from around the world. And it was in Fansipim where I began my journey. And I'm really happy to be able to auction this stuff. I gave it to the school as gifts, and the school is auctioning them off to be able to help the young ones. And I'm sure as they start on their long journey, they would also come across people around the world and in the country who give them support, encouragement, and guidance. So I hope whatever little money is raised here will be put to good use.
Well, you may have done now, there's been a disaster of a big magnitude in Sierra Leone, and Ghanaian diplomat James Victor Buah has asked government to put its expertise at the disposal of Sierra Leone. The West African nation is battling a mudslide in which over 600 people are still missing. Speaking in an interview with Mamavi Usuabuaje, Mr. Victor Buah described the situation in Sierra Leone as tragic and called on government to respond with every assistance possible.
It's tragic, very tragic, and I do hope that we can put some of our expertise in these matters, at the disposal of Sierra Leone at this time. We have considerable experience with NADBO, and that is a kind of thing that the Sierra Leoneans need at this time. I'm sure they can handle their own relations with other people, but to be able to coordinate, help from many parts of the country, and also especially help from Ghana. We probably will need to have people on the ground, and I hope that our government will hurry up to offer its, because the president of Sierra Leone has already asked in a broadcast for assistance, and even though not everybody is comfortable yet in this country, you don't wait till everybody is satisfied. We must, develop a spirit of helping neighbors and so on. And so I hope we can do something very quickly.
And that's it for the news update we have. We have a lot more news. We have a couple of the newspapers in the studio, and so we'll review them up next. And then also we'll look at some more news as displayed on the various online portals.